If you're a frequent viewer of mine and you watched my last episode, you're probably asking yourself, hey, I thought you were going to be doing some molding this time. We're still going to do that. We're just going to take a quick sidestep. A little background. For a while now, I've been looking for a low-effort solution to upgrade the lighting on the TT. The TT, I mean, for its time, manufactured in '98, it came out with Xenons, and they have a 35-watt ballast. By today's standards, they're not very bright at all. And I've really been wanting to get something that it didn't make it sketchy to drive at night while it was raining. So I decided to table it and figured I'd just leave it for something I'd worry about later down the road. Later down the road is today. And the reason for that is I had a company called Auxito reach out to me to give my first impressions on one of their LED offerings. They are a global supplier of automotive LEDs, and they have a ton. And they sent me a pair of D2S LED light bulbs. So we're gonna compare these to the OEM Xenons that are on the car. And then I'll also do just like an initial comparison in terms of brightness. I would like to revisit this down the road once the car's put together. And you know, we can give it a night drive test, things like that, something a little bit more substantial. But for the time being, let's go ahead and remove what's in the headlights right now, and we'll do a side-by-side comparison, and I'll give you my initial thoughts. So what you'll get in the box, you'll of course get your user manual. They provide gloves. This is very important for handling your original Xenon bulbs. They do not like oils on their bulbs because they run very, very hot, and it'll create hot spots. It can ruin them. So these are very, very important for taking your original ones out. And then coming out of the box are the LED bulbs themselves. They look and feel really, really nice, very well made. They have a removable collar, and this is going to be really important here in a moment when I show you how to get these installed. These do have to be installed in a correct orientation. And then here is the plug for the igniter, and they have a built-in fan which is sure to help with the longevity of how long they last. They get hot, so having a nice heat sink and a fan will prove very, very useful. I've gone ahead and pulled out the original bulb, and I wanted to compare it to what it looks like to these LEDs. One of my first observations was that when you line up the base of the bulbs, you'll notice that the lighting element on the LED is the exact same distance as the lighting element on the Xenon. Now, that is really, really important from the perspective of having projectors. The alignment of that element is really, really important because that directly impacts the quality of light and effectively just the projection of that light when it's on. So any kind of misalignment, if it's too far forward, too far back, any direction other than the direction it's supposed to be, or at least the direction that the OEM bulb is located, it's gonna mess up the quality of your lights. Number two, you'll obviously notice that the back of the lights themselves, this is quite a bit beefier than this one. So while the igniter connects directly to the back of the bulb here, this one has a rather large heat sink with a fan installed in it. Which is good because LEDs get really, really hot, or can get really, really hot, and that significantly reduces their lifespan. So by having a heatsink on there with a fan, that's a bonus in being able to find that happy medium of being able to have a powerful LED while also not getting so hot that you pretty much kill the longevity that LEDs are known for. And then the third observation that I had, this collar actually comes off. So this makes the installation infinitely easier, and I'll show you. I'll put this all back, and I'll kind of show you the removal and the installation process of it. But by the LEDs having these collars, it makes it infinitely easier, and you'll see why here in a minute. But with all of that being said, some of you might be asking why is it worth it to bother even going to an LED or switching out from the Xenon? Well, for starters, an LED is going to produce a considerably brighter light at the same wattage than your conventional Xenon or even your halogen, and especially your halogens. They're not going to be anywhere near as bright. Secondly is the consistency of the light. So LEDs are also known for producing a very, very consistent light. It's no different than if you were to grab an LED version of a flashlight versus your conventional little bulb, or your overhead shop lights converting over to LEDs. They're just much, much brighter and produce a more consistent light. If you've noticed, when conventional shop lights start to degrade or die over time, they'll start to change color, they'll dim, where an LED won't. It's going to stay bright until it dies, and then it's just dead. So you won't have that inconsistency in light output that you would with a xenon or a halogen as they start to degrade. And then lastly, that lifespan. The higher the quality of the LED, the longer they last, as well as the better that they can dissipate the heat, the longer they're going to live. So I do appreciate that they include a fat heat sink with a fan on it. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna put this back into the headlight so I can show you how to remove it and also what it looks like straight from the factory. And then we'll get this installed, and then we can get a nice comparison between you know, how these are packaged, and we'll get an initial beam of light to see what the intensity is like. So after removing the cover of the back of the headlight, this is what we're looking at. Where we're primarily focused is right here. So this is the built-in igniter for the bulb itself. And if you've never taken them off, they're super easy. They just have a twist cap on it. And then you can see our bulb in there. This has a locking collar, and then you just give it a tight twist, and then you'll see that the light itself comes free. And then there is our bulb, and you can see, I'll pop this in here real quick. So that collar that I was talking about has some keyways into it. So grabbing our LED light, we then can grab our locking collar, match it all up. And then it'd probably be easier to just put this in there first. And then we can line up our locking collar and then go ahead and twist it. And the locking collar is in place, and now we can just slide the bulb in. One thing to note is that the LED does need to be aligned perpendicular to the horizon. And the way that we can do that is by paying attention to where the plug is coming out of. It's aligned in line with the direction of the LED. So that makes it really easy. And then from here, this is where we can just get creative. We can decide however makes most sense for us to get this installed. You just go ahead, pop the locking collar on there, tuck it away. And then while we're doing this and finding the best way to pop this in, we just want to make sure that we're not twisting the LED to get it out of alignment. It'll be easy to put it back into alignment, so it's not the end of the world. It's not a huge deal. It just saves you some time from fiddling and all that. So we'll do that. And we should be able to put our cover on. And that's it. So now with all the verbal specs out of the way, let's get on to a more practical test. So we're gonna start with the xenons first. I'm gonna shut some lights off and let's see how bright these are, and then we'll throw the LEDs in. Give them some time to warm up. All right, so with those now pretty much up to temp, they should be good. This is about as bright as they're gonna get, so it's not terribly bright. Let's go ahead and toss in the LEDs, and we'll do a comparison side by side. So right off the bat, these turned on to full brightness immediately. Not only that, they are also considerably brighter, at least to my eye. I don't know how well they will look on camera. I do have the camera set up to some static settings, so the brightness is going to correlate relatively the same. And more importantly, these are very much a white in color versus the slightly bluer color temperature on the xenons. So now on to my closing thoughts. I am properly impressed. I wasn't expecting the LEDs to be as bright as they were, I knew they were going to be brighter, I just didn't think they were going to be that bright. So I'm really excited to actually have these, and shout out to Auxito for sending these out for me to review and look at. So if you're in the market looking for an LED solution that isn't installing new ballast or anything like that, this is a really good happy medium. Like I said, I'm running on a 35 watt ballast, and these were, I would almost say, twice as bright at the same wattage. So like I said, wasn't expecting that. They also have LED replacements for your halogens too, so you don't have to just have HIDs, or you don't have to be looking for an HID conversion kit to get these LEDs. And it can save you from the headache of getting an LED conversion kit too, which would require you to wire in a ballast as well and things like that. So with all of that being said, I'm gonna leave you guys with 3 things. The first one is going to be my affiliate link to Auxito. So by clicking that, it'll bring you to their website. Any purchases you make, if you choose to make one, will directly provide me with a kickback on a percentage of your purchase. So that'll be one way that you can directly support me and what I'm doing here. Secondly, I'm going to leave you with a blank, just their standard website link down there. I'm not gonna ever force you or trick you into trying to support me. Or if you haven't been convinced that you want to support me yet, but you still want to check their stuff out, that's what that second link will be for. And then thirdly, my first discount code. So they provided me with a 15% off discount code for all your purchases on their website. And it is going to be TNEP15. So if you want 15% off your purchase, whether you use my affiliate link or you use the general link, by all means, feel completely welcomed to use my discount code TNEP15 to get 15% off your purchase. So I hope you found all of this useful and valuable, and I'll catch you next time.